Hi everyone, it's Wezi here, back with another video. And today's video, I want to talk about rejection. Sorry, someone is calling me. Call them back. But anyway, so yeah, today's video, as I said, I want to talk about rejection and mainly to do with job rejection because I mean there's a whole lot of rejection in the world. So I just don't want to say rejection in general, but I just want to say rejection, but mainly to do with job search or when you're looking for a job and then you've maybe faced a lot of rejection emails or no response, which would also mean rejection in a way. So today I just want to talk about how you can be able to deal with it, yeah, as an individual. I'll be honest myself, I've received a lot of rejections regarding work. I still do up until now. But anyway, I haven't been applying for jobs lately, so I haven't been facing rejections, I'd say. But just in general, in my job search, I've faced a lot of rejections, more than I've faced. I'd say I've had more rejections more than I've had more um, what acceptance, yeah, or more success. But the successes have been good that they somehow overpower or they overshadow the rejections. Whoa, got them back. Yeah, so that's the whole thing that I wanted to talk about this video. Sorry guys for the phone call. I'll call them back. It's all right. But anyway, so I wanted to say one of the reasons why I'm doing this video is because sometimes when you're into this job search and you've been searching for a job, I mean, maybe for a year or two, nothing is coming out, and you'd be like, you start questioning things like, oh, why is it that I'm the only one who's not able to get a job, but everyone in my class has been able to get a job? But what's wrong with me? Maybe there's a problem with me. Yes, there could be a problem, which I'll talk about, but then I just don't want you to build that identity in yourself to say, you know what, maybe I'm a failure, or maybe this thing is not meant for me, or maybe you get what I mean. So I just want to talk about how you can be able to deal with rejection as far as job search is concerned. I'll talk about 5 tips or 5 ways how you can be able to deal with job rejections. Now, the first one is make sure you have a realistic understanding of the job search itself. Now, what I mean by this is make sure you set up realistic expectations because sometimes when you're coming from uni or maybe we've just finished our school, we're like, you know what, I'm going to the job market, there are jobs that are waiting for me. Yeah, you could be right. There could be jobs that are waiting for you, but most of the times it is a very competitive market. Yeah, so you're not just going there alone. You find people that are already in the industry. Yeah, you find people that are already working that are also looking for other jobs. You find people that are working who apply for the same job that you're also applying for, and you don't have experience, and you haven't gained any experience, haven't worked elsewhere. So it's like so they're already ahead of you because they have some experience. Yeah, so you should have that as one of the attitudes in your mind to say, you know what, there is possibility that I may be rejected for some of the jobs that I apply for. Why I'm saying this is because mostly you can apply for, let's say, let me just give you simple stats of how this works. You can be able to apply for 50 jobs, yeah, and all these jobs you're like, you know what, I feel like I'm the right candidate for these jobs. Let me tell you what happens. You may not get a response maybe from 46 um, recruiters or companies, but maybe you only get response from 4 companies that will say like, you know what, okay, we'll call you for interviews. Now you can imagine out of 50, you only get called for 4 interviews. Yeah. So, and out of those 4, maybe you only get to be successful to one, or maybe you don't even get to be successful to all of these 4 after the interviews. So you see how it is. So I'm simply saying, make sure you have realistic expectations to understand that you will face rejection, and it's not you alone. And most of the time, it's not like, oh, maybe something is wrong with me. No, it's just that the market has a lot of people that are looking for jobs, and then it is very competitive. And sometimes someone may be more experienced than you, someone may be more skilled or skillful than you, and I mean that's just life. Sometimes you just have to accept that as what happens in life. So that's the first one. Make sure you have realistic expectations of the job market itself to understand that you'll be able to face rejection. I mean, that will make it much easier for you when you go in and you face rejection. You'll be like, okay, I was expecting this already. Yeah. So that's it for number one. Number two, make sure you check yourself in terms of the weak spots or the weaknesses. Let me explain it this way to say sometimes you may be facing rejections or a rejection mainly because there are some weaknesses either in your CV or in your cover letter or in your or the approach that you're using to look for a job. So sometimes it's not really because um, you're just facing rejections because the job market is competitive. Sometimes it's because you yourself, you are the weakness. There are some weaknesses in your CV, there's some weaknesses in your cover letter, or there's some weaknesses in just how you're doing everything. So for this one, I'd say do an internal audit. Get to see get to see your CV if you can, and say, okay, maybe there could be weaknesses. Maybe you can ask me. We can check with your friends to say, can I see your CV? Let me look at mine. Maybe it could be that mine is a problem. You get what I mean? You can check with someone that is already employed and say, you know what, I'm looking for a job, but I've been trying to apply for jobs, but it seems I'm not getting any response. Can I get your CV like the ones that you use? I mean, if you have good friends, they'll be able to show you, and not like good friends or bad friends. But if you have someone who can be able to show you, they'll be able to show you, and you'll be like, okay, maybe this is a problem. Maybe I should have added this, or I shouldn't have added this. Or you can talk to me. I get to look at people's CVs now. This is not just me calling in like for business or whatever, but I'm just simply saying sometimes it could be a weakness in your tools or instruments that you're using to apply for jobs. So make sure you check that as well. So um, make sure you work around that. Now you have understood that maybe you're getting rejections because of that. Now you're saying, okay, maybe I should work or improve on my weaknesses. Yeah. So that's point number 2. Make sure you check on your weaknesses, or you do an assessment of your instruments or your tools, and you should be able to know that, okay, maybe the problem could be myself. Yeah. So that's it. Now, point number 3, which is very important as well, is make sure that you don't internalize or you personalize the rejections. What I mean by this is make sure you don't build an identity out of these rejections. Now, I already said it in the introduction, but I just want to say it again here to say sometimes when you have faced a lot of rejections, you tend to kind of like say, like, you know what, this is my identity. I think I'm a failure, or maybe I did a wrong course, or maybe other people are smarter than me, or maybe you start to find new identities for yourself. Because I mean, I mean, yes, you had expectations to say, once I go into the job market, I'll be able to get a job, this will happen. But now you find that those things are not happening. Then you start to question yourself that, okay, maybe I could be the problem. Maybe I'm just a failure, or maybe I'm just this. Now, let me tell you one thing that happens. The words that you say to yourself mean more than what people say to you, because you start to convince yourself that maybe I'm really a failure. Yeah, then you'll be like, okay, yeah, I could be. I mean, it's for other people, like, oh, let other people succeed, but not me. Now you start to internalize that, you start to make it more personal, and you'll be like, oh, I mean, if you get a rejection, you'll be like, yeah, this is me, or I fail, to the point that sometimes you don't even apply for jobs because you're like, you know what, I'm a failure, they won't call me for interviews or whatever. Then that happens. Yeah. So I'm simply saying, make sure you don't internalize this and make it more like, you know what, I'm a failure, so nothing good will ever happen to me, or whatever. You know how we always talk about these things. Sometimes when we're trying to be, I'll say, we're trying to criticize ourselves, yeah, but in a more negative way. So just make sure that you don't internalize it or make it your new identity, like, oh, I'm a failure. So yeah, that's point number 3. So point number 4, which is very important, make sure you are resilient, and also make sure that you build a thick skin. Some would use the word relentless, maybe. Yeah, that would also make sense. But yeah, let me use the word resilience. So let me give you a simple example for you to understand resilience. You know a rubber band, right? So I hope I had one, but I don't think I have one in this house. But anyway, I think I have one somewhere. But yeah, so if you look at the rubber band, it can be able to be stretched here or wherever. You can be able to stretch it, but then it doesn't just cut anyhow. Yeah. So that's what I mean by you being resilient. It's more like, you know what, you can be able to get multiple rejections, and then multiple rejections and multiple rejections, but it won't be broken down. Now, this one will go back to point number 3, which I was saying, don't internalize it and don't try to build your identity out of the failures. Now, when you are resilient, what happens is, it's like, you know what, I can be able to face any situation that comes my way. I can be able to face any um, rejection that comes my way. But let me be honest to say, as much as you can be resilient, and I'm telling you to be resilient, I want to say this is not simple and this is not easy. Because sometimes you see someone like me coming here and be like, oh, be resilient. Or let me be honest, guys, it's not easy. Yeah. I'll be honest, myself, I like to think that I'm resilient, but I've faced some rejections in terms of job search. And I was like, I really wanted this job. I pray to God, like, God, I really want this job, and can I be able to get this job? But then I haven't been able to get that job, and I've been broken down. I really hoped like I would get that job. So I understand. I'm not just saying this out of the whim, like, oh, you know what, just be resilient. No, I understand that it's not easy, but I mean, what else can you do? You just have to be resilient. I mean, it's not easy. Yeah. So yeah, finally, which is also the most important thing, make sure you seek feedback. Now, this one may be in line with point number 2 when I was talking about know your weaknesses. It could be your CV, it could be your cover letter and the like. But just in general, let me just say seek feedback. Now, by this I mean you can be able to seek feedback. If you had interviews, for example, you can be able to ask to say, maybe you've been told that you are not successful. You can be able to ask to say, okay, I'd like to improve in my next interview. I just wanted to know which areas I can improve on. Then you'll be told, oh, maybe you have to improve on your maybe confidence or your technical skills, or maybe your composure, or maybe how you address yourself, or how you present yourself, rather, things like those. So the idea is you should be able to seek feedback that will help you improve. So, because why I'm saying this is because sometimes if you're not seeking feedback, you may think everything that you're doing is right or correct up until someone tells you, like, you know what you're doing is not good. But sometimes, as I said, or as I have been saying to say, sometimes companies or organizations, they don't give back feedback to say, okay, maybe this is where you were wrong, or maybe you can improve on this one. So what you have to do is make sure you seek this feedback from recruiters or from colleagues, friends, whoever you can be able to take this from, and say, okay, I just want to know, maybe there might be some weak spots in myself, because it's much easier for you to ignore some of the weak spots in yourself, but some people can easily see them and say, I think you're too I want to say you're too something, but yeah, you're too. Let me find another word. They can be able to say, like, oh, maybe you should improve your confidence. You should do A, B, C, D just to improve yourself. So yeah, that's it, guys. I hope you find these tips helpful. If you don't, make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, or yeah, share this with someone else. I hope to see you again in the next video. Peace.